Our CA Hoops Summer School Series continues today with the head coach of the JMU Dukes, Sean O'Regan, presented by Belfour. Coach, first off, how are you, your family, all those around you, your close-knit circle in regards to the coronavirus pandemic?
Man, we've stayed safe, and we've had some really good family time. But no, everybody's great, man. Everybody's healthy, and that's the most important thing. I hope you and your crew are doing well too.
We are indeed, Coach, and thank you for asking. And you just talked about family. In light of this pandemic, obviously everyone's had to hit the pause button. And coaches, you're usually out there in that off season, getting your team ready, recruiting, always kind of on the grind. There's never really an off season for you, let's be honest. But what have you had? What fun things have you been able to do this off season? Maybe wouldn't do in the past. Was there a favorite Netflix show or a book or just a lot of family time, as a lot of people have been doing?
No, very, very honestly, I think it's as bad as this thing is, and of course I wouldn't wish it to do it again. But it's a different April, right? It's a different May. It's a different summer camp schedule. Even September here is going to be very different. So for me, it was nice to ride bikes with my kid at 2:00 in the afternoon, or play a board game. I got to play Risk with my son, which I thought was that's one of my favorite games, but my wife never wants to play, Bobby, so.
Very long game, yes.
Very long game.
Played it many times.
I mean, we must have played for a week, but those type of things for me just are impossible when you're rolling through regular college basketball life, with the weekends recruiting, with the official visits, and so, for me, that's really been a huge plus. I think my kids having me home every night, is a very different thing, but it's been really, really enjoyable. And I've really had to really kind of focus on enjoying that instead of what we're not able to do. This is what we're able to do. And so we got very into that, which has been really fun. And I'm not going to lie, I haven't been able to watch Netflix for ever, because you always feel guilty. You should be watching, the Drexel Dragons or something. So I got to, one of my favorite ones, Peaky Blinders. I love Peaky Blinders. I was addicted to that show for a while, but a lot of my players got me into Money Heist, which is a little weird because they're the lips don't match up with everything. And then All American. So those are my three kind of headliners that I watch. But that's certainly a question I ask a lot of the players on our team and recruits. It's like, what are you watching? Because it's I think everybody's got something to watch to kind of spend their time and entertain themselves. But as bad as it's been, and again, I wouldn't wish the end of our season or whatever effects it's going to have. It's already messed up football, but there's been some positives. Spending time with my two young kids and my wife has been nice.
Absolutely glad you've been able to have that family time, Coach. And let's now talk about the obstacles of coaching during this COVID-19 pandemic. What have been the biggest challenges for you during this time?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I'm a face-to-face guy, number one, and that's just how I work, and we have our players back now. We've had them back for almost 4 weeks. So there's a little bit of there's normalcy in that, but there's no swinging by the office. There's no after a workout just sitting there and talking with Kiki Jefferson for an hour while somebody else is working out. Those things didn't exist from April to mid-July. And so I really had to challenge myself. One thing we really pride ourselves on here is individual attention. And so from the beginning, it was like, no, I'm going to talk to every one of them once a week at least. And, that's 14, 15 of them. That's tough, and you've got your departing seniors where you're trying to talk to them, your incoming freshmen, so it ends up being 20. But fine, and that's just what it was. We started to evolve a little bit in doing some Zoom calls with the group, some smaller groups, stuff like that. And we had some good ideas, but the real challenge is that individual attention. How do you give our players that individual attention that we've built this program on and this culture on for so long? how do you do that over the phone, FaceTime? It's more difficult because it's not as organic. It's not as, you just find yourself sitting around talking to Maddie and Kiki in the office from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. I'm not going to be on FaceTime with the both of them from 2 to 4 in the afternoon. So that's probably the biggest challenge for me. But you as a coach, you adapt and you overcome and you keep grinding.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, let's talk a little bit about your team, talk some hoops now. Obviously you have some returners coming back. You spoke of Kiki Jefferson and a few others, and obviously some newcomers as well, with the departure, of course, of Kamaya Smalls. How will your team look different this season than last year?
I think drastically different. And not worse. For me, it's just very, very different. I mean, we are now 7-7, 7 returners to 7 newcomers, and we have 5 freshmen, 2 grad transfers. And so, for me, it's been very different. And I've been talking to Kamaya and Lexi and Devin and even Kayla's around our office now, but it's almost like I've got to challenge myself, almost make new friends, right? Because I've had Kamaya here for so long and Lexi here for so long. So I joke, I got to make new friends. But for me, we got a lot of pieces. I'm very, very high on our freshmen. I think the grad transfers have experience. They both have started for, Morgan Smith started for Georgetown her junior year, and on youth, we call her AD started for Georgia Tech. And that experience is going to be very, very essential for us when we hopefully head to some of those high major games, on the road or at home. But I think their athleticism and their experience will really help. But, we've got a lot of stuff. I think a lot of our players are kind of jockeying for position in a very healthy, competitive way, which is great for me because I think competition brings out the best in everybody. But it's going to be a new cast of characters. Even one of our returners is a transfer no one's seen. So you're talking about 8 players that have never put on a JMU game jersey. And so I'm really excited though. We got Kiki Jefferson will be, obviously our kind of headliner. Everybody will know her because of Rookie of the Year. Rain Tucker's not far off of that. She's had a really good offseason, and she was all rookie team. And then you go down and you got Brianna Tinsley from University of Virginia, and she started 55 of 64 games for them. Maddie Green has had some really good. She had a really good offseason as well. So who knows? I mean, is it a Jalen Carradine or is it Morgan Smith? But our freshmen, some of our freshmen have really impressed me. Jamia Hazel has had a really good summer, really, and Peyton McDaniel, Steph Odekirk, and Anna Goodman have all been great, and not to mention Bailey Wood. So we've got all these new pieces, and I'm anxious to kind of put them together. I'm trying to be patient, right, because we're here, and I don't want to start practicing just yet. But we've got all these pieces, and it's my job to put the puzzle together.
And Coach, you spoke about Rain Tucker and Kiki Jefferson, and I know last year we did a feature, on when they were freshmen, looking up to seniors such as Kayla Cooper-Williams and Kamaya Smalls, and like you said, Kiki Jefferson having a big freshman year, winning the CA Rookie of the Year. Where do you see their development as they get ready for the sophomore year and not having those other 2 players who have left for graduation to kind of lean on? Do you feel that they're ready for the moment?
Well, I do feel that we haven't necessarily put them to the test yet, but I do. They had great role models, and it's also great. Kayla's going to be a graduate assistant for us, so she'll be here. So she's still kind of going to be able to help with that. But they've had great role models, and I thought they learned a lot from last year. So for me, moving forward, they're in a way arguably our most veteran too, because of like Kiki, the minutes she logged, the starting position she had. So even though Maddie Green is a junior and has played 2 years versus Kiki's 1 year, I think Kiki could have some more experiences that Maddie didn't get to go through. So I think there's still a huge gap for growth, and that's the idea, is that we're going to continue to challenge them leadership. We're going to challenge them with communication. We're going to challenge them in all kinds of ways. So there's still a lot of growth there that needs to be done. But man, they're ready, and anybody that spends 20 minutes with Kiki knows she's got the personality for it. So I'm excited for them to kind of receive the baton from that senior group and take off with it.
Coach, speaking of that senior group that's moved on, obviously it's changing the CA landscape a bit as you get ready for the upcoming year. Talk about the league. We obviously had some great players graduate last year, and it was a great year for the league. As we said, we've already talked about Kayla Cooper-Williams, Kamau Smalls, also Bailey Greenberg leaving at Drexel. How do you see the CAA shaping up as we get ready for this season?
Yeah, it's really a difficult one. Outside of us, the ones that stick out to me, and I'm going to butcher her last name, I always have, but Eva Hodgkin and Kiana Jeter. Those are the two for me that, they stick out. They're two super talented guards. I think you're two front runners for Player of the Year. But man, there is a high amount of change. With how much Drexel lost, how much Delaware lost. I just think there's so much change. Elon's got a pretty similar cast of characters, and I think they're just going to continue to get better. So it's, we always say it. I think the league is as competitive as ever, and it'll be a pretty wide open gate here with everybody trying to rise to the top. And so I'd be lying if Eva and Jeter weren't rolling around my head at nighttime, making sure we get ready for them. But no, it's going to be, it's the same. I think it'll be a little bit of a younger league as a whole, but that doesn't mean a worse league at all. Some of those seniors, like old dog, you can't teach them new tricks. So we're. I think it'll be a really interesting year. And again, a lot of new faces. And if you go down and try to pick 15 all-conference players right now, it's a very different group than it has been for probably the last 3 years.
Coach, we also have to speak of the new home for the JMU Dukes this year. Obviously, the Atlantic Union Bank Center there in Harrisonburg, beautiful new building that I'm hearing here all the way from Richmond. What has that been like, the transition? I know right now in regards to the pandemic, it could be up in the air with fans and things related to that moving forward. But without the pandemic, hypothetically right now, how exciting is it about the arena, your new home for the Dukes?
Well, I'll tell you what, Bobby, the way I operate and our staff and our players, that's I always say there is no pandemic. We're going forward, and if they tell us stop, they tell us stop. So that's how I roll anyway. It's unbelievable. I mean, I was in there a couple weeks ago. It's a totally different life for us. And what I mean by that is everything. The space in the weight room, the training room is state of the art. We've got a practice gym, and Coach Byington and his staff have been great coming in here, dealing with what we've dealt with for the past 30 years, which is basically one court, two baskets, right? So now we've got practice court, game court, the technology in that building, how it's absolutely unbelievable, off the charts. And those are kind of the things I'm excited about. Now, those are still, it's not going to make us soft, Bobby. We got to get to work still, right? But for me, it's an unbelievable change with facilities, resources, all in one. We've got academic parts of the building. We've got better places for pregame meals and stuff like that. So it's really a one-stop shop, which I think is going to be awesome. The only thing I haven't yet really understood is how will the atmosphere be? One of the things I think we've had an awesome advantage the last couple of years is our atmosphere in the Convo is unbelievable. Is a 10 out of 10. And I know they're preparing to make it a 10 out of 10, but you want to wait and see. But it's a very, the court is really right on top of you. So it's not like they've spaced it out too much. So I can only imagine how great it's going to be. And I hope we got some scientists figuring this thing out real quick here, Bobby, so we can we can get that thing packed for our home opener. But I'm really, really excited about going into the building and giving our student athletes a better experience. Obviously, recruiting going to be a better experience, but to me, I always go student athlete first because they've given us that commitment and loyalty, and so I do want to be able to reward them with some things that they've worked for.
Absolutely. Well, we all definitely look forward to the Duke's new home coming up this season. Wrapping up today with the JMU head coach, Sean O'Regan. And Coach, obviously we want to touch on the other off-season headline, which has been the social injustice movement and Black Lives Matter. I know you've been a big part of part of an organization, Coaches for Change, I believe is what it's called. And what you've been doing, and then also the conversations with your student athletes in regards to the social injustice movement.
Well, yeah, I mean, you talk about new territory. I mean, you're throwing COVID and this all in the same couple months. And, I think first and foremost, Bobby was, again, individually reaching out and figuring out who was going through what, who was enraged by it, who was, man, this is the same old story, so there's so many different reactions. And, I've really, truly, again, enjoyed my time in this terrible situation, but I've enjoyed my time learning from my players and my staff. And that's something that's really been kind of beneficial for me and a challenge for me as a coach to navigate this and take the lead on some of the things, which is again, it's something that's different and a little bit of new territory for me. And I'm honestly, Bobby, thankful that we didn't have all these recruiting weekends and stuff like that, because I don't know if I would have, gone into it so deeply. And so, I guess starting with our team, again, it was a lot of individual conversations at first. We got on the Zoom call, and man, it was like no one wanted to speak on the team Zoom call because people are afraid to say the wrong thing. And what I learned in the next couple of weeks of that was you don't want to speak on something you're not educated about. And so that was my first lesson. And I've really projected that to our players is that, okay, so read, watch, learn, and then we can start having a better conversation about it. And when it really started to get good, we broke them down into small groups, and we rotated assistant coach. We rotated the groups within all the coaches. And so I would have a group of 4, and then Coach Lang would have a group of 4. And so there was much better conversations in that because it wasn't the whole group and the intimidation of that. So I learned a little bit from that as well. But, we've had different people who are maybe more passionate about being out there about it. Morgan Smith was the first one and really used her talent, her graphics to take a jersey, wipe it out, and it says, "I can't breathe." And so you would send Morgan, if I was an athlete, I would send Morgan my picture. She would do "I can't breathe," send it back so you could post it to social media. Nikki Oppenheimer took it upon herself to make her own video with our team, in different ways. And what I encouraged each player to do was like, hey, it's your own. You don't have to do this or you don't have to do this. It's your own process. And so if your process is just educating yourself and maybe your family, great. If your process is being out on social media, great. If your process is going to DC and you want to great. All that stuff is great. Your own process. And I've always preached that kind of acceptance thing is that, you shouldn't be mad. I'll just use Rain Tucker, right? If Rain Tucker didn't want to do anything, our team shouldn't be mad at Rain Tucker because she doesn't feel the need to do it, so it's acceptance based. That's the first thing. And that was it's still an ongoing fight. And so what some of the things about Coaches for Change, we also had, I want to give this guy a shout out too, because it was a very good presentation. It was Kyle Williams, Decide to Inspire. He basically, we had a group of probably 50 coaches. He makes you do homework before you get on the call. And it's probably about 3 hours of homework where you're watching this. And And it was a really good presentation. And that's something that, Bobby, when you have to do the homework, you got to do it. So it was beneficial. It was like, yeah, I want to get in this uncomfortable talk. Okay, well, you got to watch this video and you got to read this. And maybe I wouldn't have done it if I knew, I didn't have to talk about it the next day. So he did a good job. A lot of the Coaches for Change people were on that call. But what I love about Coaches for Change is that we're not talking. We're not talking. It's like, what are we doing about this? They've broken into an organization of regional directors of, all right, you've got a group. Let's say I'm in the educate group. So what are we doing to educate student athletes and beyond athletic departments? It's like, it's really put your money where your mouth is type of material. And I really like, that's how I work. I would prefer not to sit on a call and talk for 2 hours. And it's great. We all feel better, but we haven't done anything. What have we done? And so that's what really inspires me about the Coaches for Change idea. And I was very, very thankful to be a part of that. And so, that's something that, we had a great presentation from actually Zach Cantor at Towson about voting and really voting suppression and how to vote and the difference between an absentee ballot and a mail-in ballot. And I give him a lot of credit because he's a pro on that stuff. And I learned a lot from him. So there's so wide a spectrum of things you can learn and things you can take away from this thing. And, even some challenges I've had is now that all this information, you might have a friend, right, that has a different perspective. And it's like, wait, I can tell you a little bit more about this now. And so those are some of the things that it's such a wide and heavy topic that I don't want it to end. I didn't want it to end July 1st just because it had died down a little bit. I don't want it to end November 3rd when an election, it's an ongoing thing. And what I've really kind of the biggest headliner, I know I'm getting long-winded here, Bobby, is the biggest headliner for me is, all right, we educate our team on nutrition. We educate our team on sleep. And we educate our team on how to rehab your body. We educate our team on mental health. And these are things is staples. So why isn't this a staple? And what got me was I had a small group and I had a couple Black players in the group and they said, Coach, I didn't know this stuff. And so that was the first time I was like, whoa, I just assume, it's a white player that doesn't know or doesn't know the history of it or doesn't know. And it's more than that. And so why not use my position, my platform, even just to get to them about their education. They can do what they want with the information after their education. But, I think being educated on the topic is the first step in the whole thing. And then you can deal with it how you want to deal with it. But I've had some really, really great conversations, made me better as a coach and better really as a person, to really hear from some of them in the perspectives. And honestly, not only them, I talked to a lot of the ones that had graduated and listened to kind of what their story was or their experience they had. And not everybody has one, but a lot of people do.
Absolutely. Coach O'Regan, thank you so much for sharing your insights in regards to the social injustice movement topic and the conversations you've been having. And thank you for taking time, sharing your summer. Hope you and your family and your team stay healthy through all this. And hopefully we'll be seeing the Dukes on the court fairly soon.
I hope so. Thanks, Bobby.